All righty. Hang on.
Tim, mate.
Bales.
How are you?
Good.
Just waiting for Harmey, mate. We'll obviously speak about it, but mate, what an end to the round. That was a good last game, that's for sure. For me, anyway.
Yeah, I was with the kids today, mate, so I didn't get to watch very much, if any, footy today at all.
That's all right, mate. Did you? So you didn't watch the last end of the game there?
No.
Oh, mate, was
it close? Was it?
No, just very, very enjoyable to watch as a certain
I haven't
potential
seen
Brownlow medalist. And
yeah.
So
hang on, let's have a look. Holy shit! Holy shit!
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah, mate. So
Jesus, well, those that went with Bond wouldn't have been disappointed.
Mate, 100%. We'll just wait for Harmey, guys. So we'll just
mate.
About to go underway shortly.
Jeez,
here he is.
Pretty much still turned up.
Beautiful. We're live on YouTube as well. So, Harmey, mate, you got us? Just on mute. Beautiful. There he is.
Yeah, here I am.
How you doing, Harmey?
How are you? I'm
going
well, thanks, mate. Yep, going well.
Beautiful. Tim, mate, we're ready to go whenever you are.
All right, let's do it. Hello and welcome everyone to the AFL Fantasy Fanatics round review. We are recording live on Twitter on Sunday, the 18th of June, after the completion of round 14 of the AFL Fantasy season. I am your host and AFL Fantasy Fanatic, Tim Guest. You can find me on Twitter at TimGuestAU. And joining me, as always, is my co-host and someone you can find on Twitter at BalesDT. Bales, mate, how are you? How was your week? Where are you ranked? Who's your plus and minus three?
Yeah, not bad, thanks, Tim. Had a pretty nice week, even though I had another loss to in the Content Creators Cup. So that just continues to be a bust for me. But scored 1931, so pretty nice score there in the end, which I think actually put me as one of the top sort of 5 or 6 scorers in the Content Creators Cup. So that sort of just doesn't surprise me that I lost, even though I scored quite well. But moved up nearly 2,000 spots, which is quite good. So it made up for my poor week last week where I dropped 1,400. I rose about 1,800 spots. So that was nice. Cracked the top 8K again. So hopefully we can go towards top 5K next week. Plus 3. I was almost going to say just no one can go Taranto because of how good he is, but I'm sure one of you boys will take him. But I'll take the guy that ended the round amazingly. So that's Marcus Bontum, Bloody Pelly, 158 points. Who would have thought? I probably should have not taken Taranto's VC. I would have got 11 more points. But no, Bont was amazing, 158. That now means he's only had one score below 110 since round 8, and that was a 108. So, yeah, it's been a while. He hadn't cracked the 140 for a little bit, but it was good to see him bounce back with a huge, not bounce back, but just get a huge score. -3. I'm not going to give it to a rookie, so I'm going to steer clear of him. We'll talk about him later. But Jack Steele, 60. I know he's injured. I know that's a struggle. We'll speak about him a bit more in depth when we get to that game. But, it's a struggle owning him at the moment and should be putting up hundreds and getting subpar scores. So, yeah, he gets my -3.
Sure, mate. Sure. All right. Well, good week, good score. Shame we didn't get the win, but good to see you climb up the ranks, mate. Well, let's move across to our guest for the week. Coming across from the PODPOD, mate. I got to say, Harmey, I know bloody Dos gets into you every single week about the fact that you got to buy in the Content Creators Cup. I do apologise, mate, not being able to slide you in there, but I think now is a good time to announce it, mate. After Zave's deplorable effort this year, I think next year he'll be getting a boot and you'll be sliding into his spot, mate. So I thought I'd give you the mid-season news.
Oh, look, over the moon, Guesty. That's made my weekend. That bit of relegation for Zave. Sorry, Zave. But, look, I'm happy to take a spot there. So, yeah. No.
Welcome along, mate. How about you? How'd you go this week?
Oh, let's have a look. I am having a bit of a read-through now. I've got 1847, so not as well as Bales, which is a bit of a shame. I've had a few. few poorer performing players, I suppose. It's funny, hey, that some of the primos haven't really stepped up through the buy rounds, and then you end up dropping off your premium scores rather than the rookies that you expected. So, yeah, 1847, that puts me just inside the top 5,000. So overall ranking at the moment of 4939. So, yeah, not having the best season, but I think I'm going to come out of the buys with a near completed side, and not sitting in too bad a position. I've sort of still been going through the right way to play. I'm trying to upgrade my lower performing players rather than sideways trading through the buy. So it's sort of going okay, but let's have a look. +3, hey? Man, I reckon a couple of my trade-ins performed pretty well. So I'll go with Angus Sheldrick. I actually looped him on and changed my trade plans in the end, but he put up 82 and he was killing it. He actually played really well with about 55% time on ground. Horse wouldn't put him on, yet in the second half he still kicked 2 goals and got over 82. So his score came on for me. And for a player that's priced at 213,000, that's pretty decent. So, yeah, no, that was pretty good. But, look, let's have a look. 66 from Tom Stewart to start the round. That wasn't really pretty. So maybe we'll go the -3 his way this week.
Yeah, a bit of a stinker. I think the only thing that kind of made me feel good about that is knowing that so many people own him. I think it was like 99% of the top 100 and 99% of the top 1,000 or something ridiculous like that. So that didn't bother me so much. I'm a bit actually confused about how I went for the round. So the desktop is saying 1784. The app is saying 1911. I know my overall ranking is 551, so if it's 1784, like I'd be surprised if I climbed in rank. But anyway, I'm not sure. I climbed in rank to 551, so I'm pretty happy. About 50 odd spots, so I'm pretty happy with that. Plus and -3. I think, look, I mean, Taranto is a bit of a no-brainer. But probably one of the things that I do want to say is that a couple of weeks ago, I was looking to bring in Andy Brayshaw, and I think it was Holmesy that kind of was on the pre-lockout spaces and was talking about Lockie Neal, and I actually switched my trade from Brayshaw to Neal, saved myself $150,000, and he's effectively performed at the same as what Brayshaw has done over that same period of time.
So about 10 points.
Yeah, yes. So I've been really happy with that as a trade-in. My -3, look, I'm actually rookies. I'm really disappointed in this week. Like George Wardlaw, 31. Like that's a
100%.
stinker. Matthew Johnson getting subbed out for a 37. I mean, those two hurt because we were hoping for cash gen, and it's really going to kill their cash gen now or slow it down significantly. But the other one that I kind of heard that hurt me, particularly in my matchup, was Dev Robb. It was a big question mark all week going, were we going to bring in Dev Robb or Windhager? And he did seem to be everywhere, and he got kudos from the coach at the end of the game, but he just kind of failed to turn that into fantasy scoring. So that was, a little bit of a disappointing way to kind of start the weekend on the Friday night. So that's who I'll give my -3 to.
Hey, question for you, Guesty. You're actually going really well this year. Like, kudos to you. Like, it's going well for you. Are you happy with where you're sitting? Like 550? What do you think?
Yeah, look, I mean, so last year I think I came out of the buys. Look, I was in the top 100 for the first 10 rounds or something like that. Sorry, not for the first 10 rounds. I missed round 1, but from round 1 to around 11 or something like that, I was in the top 100, and then I started to slide out. So I was about maybe 270 or something like that at this point last year. So I feel, I guess a little disappointed that I'm not higher, but at the same time, I feel like I'm having a good year. I mean, particularly considering there's so many good coaches out there that, I've been stung by so many bullets. I am a little dry on my bench, but, I don't know. Look, I'm just trying to make the best trades I can. We'll see how we go coming out of the buys. This was definitely, I think, one of my hardest weeks. I mean, next week is going to be hard as well, but I've been really kind of lining up for next week, and I guess we'll just see how it comes out at the end of round 16 or 17 and how the run home looks.
I'll tell you why I asked, because last year I actually finished about 556, I think, like overall, and I probably should have finished a little bit higher than that, but I was happy with that. I mean, anywhere in the top 1,000, I reckon you've had a really good season.
Definitely. Look, and I've kind of been around that top 1,000 for a few years, knocking on the door. And last year, being in the top 100 for so long, that was I guess that was the best I've ever done. I'll just keep learning more from you guys and trying to get better. And it's I've also had some luck go my way this way, so we'll see how it goes from here.
Oh, good stuff.
Thanks, man. All right, let's get into the games. Hey. Kicking it off with the first game, Port Adelaide defeating Geelong by 38 points at Adelaide Oval. Not much to talk about here. Port Adelaide 11 wins in a row now. There was some late changes. Junior Rioli came out with illness and was replaced by Quinton Narkle, had a bit of a game. And Segler came out replaced by Zach Tui. Things to note throughout the game, Tanner Bruin injured his AC joint, and Josh Sin, who some of us was looking at for a bit of a rookie trade-in, was subbed out in the third quarter.
Beautiful. Well, I'll just toot my own horn just to get. And just had a look at where I ranked for the round, 3,915. So my first week in about a month where I finished top 10K for the round. So just sort of get that in there, boys.
Great round, Bales. Great round.
It was good to finally have one. But we'll go through these players here. So Houston 108. I know Jet. It's been a tough ride with him, but he'd be very happy with that 108 there. Rosie 106, just ticking it over and getting the job done once again. I think that's 5 tons on the trot. When I sort of thought, about maybe just before this run started, I thought, well, is he going to be a top 6 with these other guys getting it? But he's well and truly in the top 6 and performing really well. Zach Butters, 77, just a poor game. I think he went off with a bit of a shoulder concern. Still looked really good out there when he was there. Just didn't quite put the score on the board, but I'm sure coach will be fine with him. Dylan Williams, 76. Again, I think he's just a trade for coaches. He's just a rookie. He's done his done a good job and made a lot of cash for us. So he could be moved on. But Mitch Duncan, Harmey, so 74, not quite the score that maybe coaches were after bringing him in this week, but he did look good early, and I guess his scoring probably dried up when Port took over the game. Are you still looking at him as a potential option around that 700K mark that could maybe be of use as a bit of a stopgap for maybe a couple of weeks?
If you need him, but I actually think somewhere around that 75 to 90 is where he's going to be for the year. So it's not the sort of player we should be aiming for this time of year. I think you probably go a little bit cheaper. That's going to make you a fair bit of coin, or you just go for the top 8. You're aiming for the top 6 defenders. So, or people that are going to score close to it. I think he'll just be a bit off the mark. So probably not a target. But he looked good early. Yeah, he just didn't have much of a second half by the looks of it.
Yeah, and we know Porter is a tough matchup. Like we look at Stewart, he only got a 66 and he's the next player here. So poor game from Stewart, but there's no concerns with him. He's got plenty of games to come at GMHBA, so he'll be good on the run home. Quinton Narkle was a bit interesting as a few people looking at him. A 53, bit of an awkward price, so probably just a wait and see for another week or two. But I think the time's passed. I don't think we're really looking at these guys at that 400K mark. I think now it's either your underpriced primos or your top 6 or top 8 or whatever in their line. So,
and there also does sometimes tend to be a bit of a trend that players playing their revenge game seem to go well.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And who knows? I know he's a late in for Junior Rioli. I know Fantasia, I think, had 4 goals, 3 in the Sandful. So if Narkle, is he going to hold his spot? So that's probably the question. But Tanner Brun as well, 49. He looked very good early as well. I think he's on about 40 points at quarter time and copped a knock. I think it was a shoulder. He sort of went off, came back on for a little bit in the third quarter, and he got subbed out shortly after. So tough break for anyone that might have jumped on him. And then Josh Sin, only 14 points. So that's 2 really, really poor scores. So if you did have 19 or 18, that would have been an absolute killer on Thursday night, having a rookie score that low. So, but not too many relevant players in that game. So Tim will move to the Friday night game.
Hold on a sec, Bars.
Right.
I'll give you one from that game. So you had Dangerfield go down and you had Broome go down. And I reckon they'll both miss this coming week, like at least a couple of weeks probably. So it might open the door for Jack Bowes, who's going to be super cheap. He got injured on that 10 score and then he came on as a sub for a 21. So his price will plummet. And if you're desperate or you just want to do a rookie swap, he's probably going to be as cheap as he's going to be for the rest of the season. So anyway, just wanted to have a look at.
So 5.76, break even 117, sword 21. Yeah, so he's going to be very, very close to that 500K mark. So would you wait a week to see what he looks like next week, or would you be happy maybe to jump on if you can maybe switch a rookie to him?
Yeah, just have a look at where he's named and what the club is saying during the week, I reckon. But he's got potential to be that midfield type to help out.
Yeah,
Someone's got to be in the CBAs, don't they?
Yeah, exactly right. No, thanks, Harmey. Completely missed that one. But yeah, no, definitely one to keep an eye on, Tim, there. So, but yeah, we'll move to the Friday night game.
All right, good spot, Harmey. Brisbane versus Sydney. Brisbane defeated Sydney by 16 points at the Gabba. So a few rooks here that came into this game to talk about. No late changes, no injuries. Over to you, Bales.
So, yeah, Luke Parker, 126, was top scorer for Sydney. Is he any interest? He's a bit of an awkward price. He's around sort of maybe not a little bit cheaper than a Brad Crouch and a Lockie Neal, but is Parker of any interest?
He's a great player, and he's going to have a good role because Mills will probably still not miss another week, I reckon. So he's sort of the main midfielder, but he's mid-only, so he doesn't have the flexibility that he did last year to swing him forward. You can have a look at him, but he's also had his bye, so he's sort of the player that you could target. But I think we're going to find that there are going to be better players around that price that we should look at. So we'll probably come to some.
Yeah, I think I agree with that one. Josh Dunkley, 113, was good. And to the coaches out there that took the 113 as VC, it'd be interesting to get your boys' take, but I actually think it was still a good call to take the 113 and bank the points. I know that Taranto went huge and then Bont in the final game went huge, which a few people may have had as that fullback captain. But for me, my line's normally 110, just based on that you just don't know what can happen if a player goes down injured, gets tagged. Like an English for me last week got 76. So, Tim, I'll go to you first, mate. Were you still fine taking 113 as VC?
It depends who I've got backing it up. So, look, let's think about it. If I had Dunkley as the VC, and I probably would have had Taranto as a captain, we know the game might have been wet. We know there was a bit of a concern about a tag. Look, it's highly likely I would have banked it. So, look, I mean, I don't think you can criticize coaches for banking it. But I also, I think, you've got to also acknowledge that there would have been some coaches out there with a big set of brass,
There's a few,
that didn't take the VC and ran with it and got paid off. So, kudos to both.
Harmey, do you find taking the 113 and you think was the right call?
It's interesting. This has been a real talking point amongst the PODPOD guys this weekend because because of the bye, you've got options to VC right up until the last round, like the last game, sorry. So I'll tell you what I did, which was probably a bit too conservative. I had the VC on Andy Brayshaw. He scored 109 and I took it. So I played it safe. I had Taranto as my C, and then even today I was tempted to go with a Tim English as the C, but I stuck with it. I had a look at it overnight, and Brayshaw was still, I think, like the 8th highest score for the round. So even after today's game with Bont and English going big, he's probably still pretty close. Like he's be within the top 15 players. So I don't know. I think I was happy enough. But yeah, Dossie and both in the same boat, and I told Dossie to take it, and instead he jumped ship today and he got English, so he did really well. He got an extra, what was that going to be? Extra 25 points or something out of his C. But yeah, risk and reward. I just played it safe and took the 109 from Brayshaw.
Yep. Yeah, no, exactly right. And there's a few people saying that it cost me over 100 points, but if you've got both the players like Dunkley and Taranto, let's say, for example, only cost coaches, 34 points? Because if you've got both, it's just a difference. So, so it's not too much of a big difference, but could be key for some ranking shifts. Errol Goulden with a 108 as well. He played really well. Funny how they play him in the midfield and he actually gives him a bit of a spark and actually looks good in there instead of playing him in a forward pocket. So I know Zave went off on the Rose Magic podcast about that, saying I don't know why he didn't play midfield, but he was very, very good. Tim, is he an option if coaches don't have him, or is he still a bit expensive and you'd be maybe looking to pivot to another option?
Yeah, look, I think there's a couple of things you can consider with Goulden, right? So because we're moving through the buys, because you've got 3 trades, there's certainly options where you can go up to these top guys. But I think Goulden, I think he's overpriced. He's got a couple of 160s in there. I'm not sure what he's priced at right now, but it would be priced in the one, about 115.
Yeah, his current
like
price
that.
is 954. Break even 145, probably be about 930, 935 once his price goes down. So I think that's priced about, is that close to 115 or 113 or something?
Yeah,
Maybe less. Yeah.
So look, I'm not sure. I think he's a little overpriced. So you can definitely afford to wait, but at the same time, during these buys, you can go to these big guys anyway, right? So just team dependent.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. Lockie Neal, he mentioned before, Tim with 100, so you'd be very happy with him.
Yeah.
Back-to-back tons, and I think he's got 5 in a row now. So, Harmey, I think you jumped on Neal on his buy. I think you went Ashcroft to Neal, but for coaches out there don't have him, what are your thoughts? Is he too expensive now? Is he still an option for coaches? Would you see him being like top 8, top 12, top 20, somewhere around there?
Yeah, it's probably slightly less of an option now because you're going to have a couple of other good midfielders coming off their bye. Yeah, as you say, I went from Ashcroft to Neal in that buy, so I can't remember what it cost me, about 100,000, but he's already been really good because last week I think it was an extra 50 points that I made, and this week it was 29 again. So that was a good upgrade because I'm now getting better scores from it. So yeah, I mean you could target him. I think he's going to be close to the top 8 midfielders.
Yeah. The only thing I worry about as a non-owner, the reason I probably won't jump is that I don't see him quite being that top 8. I think he's just outside, maybe 11th, 12th, somewhere around there, and he is the number 1 tag threat. So I think that he was great value a couple of weeks ago and even last week, but I think now it's getting to a point where he's going to be pretty similar price to some other guys, the good options. So I probably will steer clear as a non-owner, but great get for those coaches that jumped on him. Jake Lloyd, 87, sort of had a pretty good last quarter, good first quarter. Second and third quarters are a bit sort of average, but just ticking over the scores, doing his thing. So he may be an upgrade at some point for coaches in luxury season, but not too bad. Sheldrick, as we mentioned, 82. Is he still a target for coaches, Tim, do you reckon, if they don't have him? He's still cheap. He's going to be around that 260, 250 mark, and we know that he can score well. Is he an option for coaches that don't have him?
So like Harmey was saying at the beginning of the pod, he looked fantastic out there. I was actually surprised to see these games
only
54%.
Unbelievable.
He seemed like he looked like he was everywhere. I probably noticed him more than any other Sydney midfielder.
Yeah.
I think so. Look, definitely. I think if you haven't jumped on, he's probably going to be the number 1 rook.
He'll have a break even, I think, is somewhere around that negative 20 mark. So I think have we all got him? I know I have. Tim, you jump. I know Harmey, you got him. Tim, did you get him?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Probably the question I think maybe we want to talk about more is how do we feel about his job security?
I think after that game,
still not good, is it? No.
For the next week or two.
He's the guy that sort of seems to be one of the last picked and low time on ground and sitting on the bench all the time, even though he's going really well. So hopefully he holds and actually gets a good role next week against West Coast, because potential to pop out another good score for us and help us through that last bye.
Yeah, I think his next 2 weeks are good because the fact that Sam Wicks has been suspended. I think when Wicks maybe comes back and they get your Heenies and Buddies back, I know they're probably going to maybe push out a goal like a Buller, but that could be where it's a little bit interesting. And then Mills, but I think for the next week at least or 2, he should be good. So, but we'll see. Ashcroft 71. Can he go, Harmey, for those coaches that have held on? If they've got enough for this buy, if you sort of just got an extra trade scene, then you don't know what to do, can he go?
Yeah, I think he can. Like, he's a great player, but he's like last week was about a mid-70s score. This week was a 70. So I think that's probably what you can expect if you choose to hold.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think he can be upgraded. Wilmot 61 was handy as well. He'll be handy next week for a lot of coaches as well. Then can be moved on potentially post-buy. Dev Robertson 58. I'm very happy that I went him over Fife, gained 11 points and about 140k. So very happy with that decision. Thanks to everyone on the Friday Spaces for convincing me of that. Lohman 57. He's another rookie option to look at this week. Had a pretty good score. Looked pretty good for the Lions as well. And so did Jasper Fletcher with a 56, but leg injury there. So wait to see sort of diagnosis of that. But he may not be there next week. But he looked really good. And Jack Buller as well probably will be dropped this week for a few guys coming back. So think that's it from that game, Tim.
Awesome. Let's move on to the next one. Hey, so GWS defeating Freo by 70 points at Giant Stadium. Jesus, I did see this game, and Freo looked horrible. Probably the big talking point out of this game is Lockie Whitfield has now been offered a one-match ban by the MRO for a dangerous tackle on Jordan Clark. But apart from that, some late changes. Jesse Hogan went out with calf tightness, replaced in the side by Aaron Cadman. And with Freo, Michael Frederick went out with an ankle and was replaced by Sam Sturt, who was a rookie I know some of us may have had or were looking at a little while ago. And then subs, probably the thing to note here is, well, Nick Haynes was replaced by Ryan Angwin. He did his ankle, so we'll have a look at what happens there in the fourth quarter. And then Neil Erasmus came in the game for Freo, who replaced Matthew Jobson, who was a tactical
And he looked
sub.
good in the last quarter as well, just quietly Erasmus. I know Jep's a big fan of Erasmus, so we'll see if he bumps his way into the side. But Lockie Whitfield, never again. I can't do it. There's always something with him. There's always a head knock, a suspension, an injury. Something with Whitfield always happens. And he was going well, everything was going well, and then all of a sudden, bang, he has to do that dangerous tackle. It was an 11-point swing as well because he would have got the free kick. But I know me and Tim have got him, so we're going to have to trade him out. And Harmey, I don't see if you got Whitfield on your side.
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
I brought him in about 5 weeks ago. So I think depending on if you've got the spare trade, but yeah, good excuse to move him on this week, I guess.
Yeah. I was actually planning to get rid of Ash this week, but he'll probably stay with Whitfield being suspended for a week, and then Whitfield will go. Josh Kelly, Tim, 120, came back, looked good. Is he an option? Post-buy, obviously. He's got the buy this week.
Yeah. So, look, he kicked 3 goals. That's the only thing I'm a little bit concerned about. I don't know if I'm entirely convinced. I mean, a lot of us brought him in early in the year. We thought he had that potential to kind of maybe push his average up into the, 110 plus kind of thing. But he's been a bit hit and miss for coaches. So
he'll be priced at priced at 910K post-buy, about that anyway. He's only had the one score below.
But
he's only had
so
the one
is-
score
but
below 79 since he came back from his head knock in round 3. So, and obviously he missed a few games, but he's gone a ton in every game, pretty much. So he's been very consistent. It's just sort of been the head knock round 1, the hamstring, sort of just a couple of things with him. He's a bit like Whitfield. There's always something with Josh Kelly, I think.
Yeah, so look, I think he's an option, but I guess coming off the bye, I know who I'm going to be looking at for around about that $910,000 mark, and it's going to be Sam Doherty.
Yep, yeah, he's good. Yeah, good target. He looked very good, and we'll get to him when we get to that game. So he definitely looked very, very good today. Cogs, Tim, I know you were discussing about whether you're going to be aggressive and trade him, but probably a good thing you held him because he put up a very good score there.
Yes. So he was actually kind of the other side of that Neil trade that I was talking about there before. To get to Brayshaw, I would have had to have traded out Cogs, which would have worked for my buy structure. But, bringing in Neil and then being able to hold on to Cogs, once again, not only has Neil gone well, but I think Cogs has probably scored more than Brayshaw has scored as well. So, that's just been one of those moves that I've made that have kind of gone my way.
Yeah, great move there as well. Brayshaw, 109. I will flag 109 will definitely take it, but he did have a 53-point third quarter. He got attention from someone. Just the message I got, that he was getting tagged. I don't know if you boys saw who he's copying attention from, but apparently he got tagged in the first half, and then that tag went to Hayden Young. So, didn't you boys see that at all?
I didn't really notice that during the game. Perryman usually does their tagging, or Ash, but I didn't really notice that. He just was a bit quiet.
And just playing so bad.
They got beat by 11 goals, so they were struggling to get their hands on it.
Yeah. See, I didn't know.
I was actually surprised that he came back that third quarter.
That's the Brayshaw we know, and that we know that he can do that. So even though he did only get the 109 from a 50-point quarter, we know that if he's having a bad game, he can always rescue it with a big quarter. So we'll definitely take it. Finn Callahan as well. I know Calvin's still holding on to Finn. I've got him in my keeper draft or dynasty draft, and he's going to be a gun of the future, and he's going to be a fantasy gun in our team. So he's a great player. Has the tendencies of a young Bont for me. So looks very, very good. Sarong, 106. He was solid again. So ticking over the tons there. Tom Green, 104. Same thing, ticking over the tons. Now, Kieran Briggs, Harmey. So another 97. He's the number 1 ruck. Coaches were probably looking at him to trade this week, but is he a trade or do you hold him?
No, if I had him, I'd be holding him. So nothing wrong at all with what he's doing. He's going up in price as well, as in he's making you money. So I wouldn't be trading him out if I had that if I was in that position. But I've had Marshall and English for a long time, so he was never an option for me to bring in, which is a bit of a shame because he's been a really good pickup for those that went that way.
Yep, yeah, he's been very, very good and, yeah, just putting up good numbers. So, yeah, I think it's a hold for those coaches. Jackson, 94. Sean Darcy expected back this week, but a few coaches jumped on him and he still looks good. So I think he put up solid scores, but you're going to want to probably have a plan to move off him in round 16 because he's probably not going to put up these 90-plus scores, I don't think, consistently. We talked about Whitfield there with a 90, so he saved his score. He sort of looked quiet for big portions of the game, but got to a 90. Ash, 83. He's not an option, I don't think, for coaches, but with Whitfield out for that week, he's got to be a hold for anyone that's got him. But Harry Himmelberg, 84. Is he a post-buy option, Tim, with the fact that Nick Haynes is potentially going to be out maybe? I don't know exactly what the injury, I think it's an ankle, but I'm not sure how long he'll be out for. But he's back in defence. He's under 600K, an option?
Yeah, look, he's got to be an option. I'm not sure if he's the kind of player we really want to be bringing in. I mean, I am looking at another underpriced option, but more so for this week in Yo. So, look, he's definitely going to be someone people will be considering, but I'm not sure he's going to be a target. He might be like the third trade or something along those lines. Well, actually, he's going to have a third trade.
Yeah, more money for a target in round 16.
I think he's going to be hard. Yeah, I think he's going to be tough to bring in. Hard.
I guess it's for those coaches that have probably got an extra rookie on field. It's probably that easy switch to get that last rookie off field. Harmey, are you keen on Himmelberg?
Yeah, Bales. I don't reckon that he's a smash play. Like he's not going to win you the competition, but I'll tell you where it may work because this is the situation I'm in. I'm looking at maybe straight swapping Bailey Humphries in the forward line to Himmelberg, and I reckon that's probably a fair play because Humphrey's still a rookie, and it's probably going to be a similar price. So after next week, that's something that I'm considering for when we have those two trades, as Tim said, coming out of that round 15 buy.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's the exact same move I'm considering as well with Humphrey. So yeah, definitely got to be someone to look at. Hayden Young, 79. Only 11 points in the second half. He copped attention apparently from someone. So poor score from sort of him. It ended up being same with Luke Ryan, only 77. Doesn't help that Freo got beaten by 11 goals. Sam Sturt was a late in, solid 68. If anyone jumped on him, sort of with that news, but he's going to be 300K, so he's not an option, I don't think, anymore. With a few other guys there, 547. I think most of us can say he's probably crossed off the list now for a lot of us. Just not quite going to have that fantasy game.
Commiserations, because I imagine there would have been a ton of coaches that brought him in.
I think there was near 4,000. I think that jumped on him. So I just say, thanks Tim and thanks Mitch and everyone else on the Friday Twitter Spaces that were saying go Dev Rob and save yourself 140 because that sort of made this week trades a bit more flexible. So thanks to those boys there. Johnson, 37, subbed out, suffered a bad cork, so just something to keep an eye on if he gets named. Erasmus did play well, so is that an excuse maybe to give him a rest? If that's the case, that's going to cause a fair few issues for coaches with us already struggling for numbers. So just something to keep an eye on. And Ryan Angwin only got 2 points as a sub coming on if anyone needed him to contribute this week. So there we go. So next game, Tim, Saturday night. Bit of a wet one, this one.
Yeah, Richmond defeated St Kilda by 20 points at the MCG. So Koch turned back time for his 300th. Probably the only thing worthwhile talking about here is Samson Ryan did his ankle and was subbed out at halftime for Hugo Ralsmith.
Yeah, so there's not much to say about Tim Taranto. He's an absolute gun. I just if anyone doesn't exactly know what sort of his numbers of late have been. So since round 6, he's only gone below 120 on one occasion with 117. And that was only because he got rested an extra bit on the bench against West Coast. But besides that, he's gone over that 120 mark in every game. In his last 4 games, his lowest score is 129, which was last week. So he's an absolute gun, averaging 124.7. So, the whole fantasy community just claps our hands for Taranto, the gun. So, fantastic. Trent Cotchin, as you said, turned back time with 119. He was very, very good. Dusty as well, played well with 114. Brad Crouch, 109. Is he still an option, Harmey, with Jack Steele struggling?
100% he is. Yeah, no, very good trading option this week, I reckon. Bales or someone I was very keen to trade in, and in the end I sort of did a bit of a shift and brought in Jack Sinclair instead, but I'm still eyeing off Crouch, somebody to bring into my team.
Yeah, well, one thing I noticed with Crouch, Harmey, was he only had 69% game time. I don't quite know what was up with that, but his game time's been about that sort of 78 to 80%. It's very similar to maybe like a Rory Laird, but is that a concern maybe with the 69% game time, or is that maybe just a bit of an anomaly and he'll be back up, do you think?
It doesn't really concern me too much. He's a high points per minute player anyway, and I just think like what the club is saying about Jack Steele, and I know they say, oh, he's got no problem with his knee, but have a look at the amount of strapping and that's on it, and the way he's moving. I think he's clearly hampered in some way. So, good opportunity for Crouch the next few weeks.
Well, we'll move to Jack Steele on that note. So, unfortunately, Harmey, we both jumped on. Actually, Harmey, no, you don't have him. Actually, no, it was Whitfield you jumped on. No, Steele, I jumped on. You boys don't have him, and I'm interested to get both your thoughts on this, and because a lot of this will be another sort of big topic this week. What do we do with Jack Steele? Because he's leaking a lot of cash. He's putting up essentially rookie scores at the moment. He's only had one score over 90 in his last 6. What do we do? Do we jump ship? Do we hold with him and upgrade around him and just fingers crossed that he just can come back to form?
Can I give you my perspective as a coach that doesn't have him?
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I want. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So here's how I would make the decision. I would be looking at how your team is going to look coming out of the buys. Because if you're still going to have a rookie on field, look at a Wardlaw, right? I mean, go back last week, I would have trusted a Wardlaw or maybe a Johnson on field, but now you can't. So if you're still going to be left with a rookie on field, I would be holding Jack Steele because it could turn around at any time. Whereas if you're maybe a little bit ahead of that, which I know some coaches are, and you've got the opportunity of maybe going sideways during this buy period and getting off him, then look, I would make it a priority to get off him if you're not going to be left with a rookie on field come round 16.
Harmey?
Well, 2 scenarios, obviously. As a non-owner, I'm not targeting him. So that's the first one. But as an owner, if you were an owner, I'm hoping for you, Bales, that you have enough trades and not too many other issues that you can move him on, because I think he's going to continue to put up sub 100 scores and lose cash. So if you do have the ability to get off him, that'll be great. But I feel like you're going to have other priorities, and you've probably planned out your buys to have him continue to play through. So you may not have a choice in this one.
Yeah. So with me, I think this week I'll be able to get an extra rookie off, which means that I think I'll only have Humphrey as my only rookie on field, but that was not trading Jack Steele. So at the moment, I've probably still got to try and get Wardlaw and Johnson off my field, which is the aim. But yeah, it's definitely a tough watch at the moment. So if you can get off, good. But if you have to hold, I guess you might have to. But other players here, Ryan Marshall, 103, got the ton post the game with a late tackle added, which was nice. So 103 there, solid. Jack Sinclair, 100. He looked very, very good, and he's still a great target for coaches that don't jump on, that haven't jumped on him. It was just that the wet weather that really affected his score. He was on 42 at quarter time and looking like he was going to go absolutely bananas, but that wet weather sort of slowed him down, but still great score. Now, Marcus Windhager. So I think I remember a certain Bales DT saying on the Friday Twitter Spaces that he'd rather Windhager as an option. So are either you boys targeting Windhager this week? Has a good role, 85, and sort of a bit similar with Crouch. With Jack still struggling, he sort of had to step up in a way as that sort of that second midfielder. So is he an option? Probably going to be about 360.
Yeah, I brought him in as well, Bales. So I think I went to peddler to him and banked 130,000 or something for this week's trade. So I was really happy with what he did, and I think that he's going to have some CBAs going forward. He's going to be a good pickup. So at still around that 350,000, he's still a good buy, and you'll be able to get a rookie to him, and you'll be making cash off him for the next month. So I think he's a good pickup.
Is he a guy that you'd be happy to play on field post buys, Harmey?
Ooh, well,
like F6.
It's possible that that I do shift him around and he ends up being my M8 instead of Wardlaw and Johnson. So yeah, it's possible. I mean, preferably not, but man, if he gets another 80 this week, he's probably the one I'd be.
He's actually got. I had a look. He's got West Coast in around 16, so he might put up a good score post by. So Tim, is Windhager a target for you? I know you had that decision with the Robertson and Windhager, but you got Robertson. Is Windhager now a target for you as well?
Yeah, look, I'd love to bring him in this week. The only thing which will be the concern is I think I'm going to be looking to go down to more of a basement rook to try and get what I need or want to get done this week. So he's a good option, but he just might be a bit pricey for me.
Yeah, I think it'll be team dependent if you can work him in, but great option if you can get him in there. Nathan Wangani Miller, 75. I know DC brought him in and he would have had his heart in his mouth when he went down with an early sort of ankle or leg injury. Came back on, looked good. He was on, I think, over 50 at half time, but again, that wet weather sort of slowed him down, but 75. I think he'll still put up some good numbers, but just not quite exactly the sugar hit you would have wanted from the first game there. Filippo, 68, if anyone's still got him in their side. 68, solid enough score there. Might have bumped off a poor one. Then we mentioned Jack Steele with a 60 before as well. So, Tim, we'll move to the Sunday games.
Yeah, so just a quick reminder, if there's a player you want discussed or a question you want answered, tweet it below in the spaces or comment on YouTube and we'll have a look at them when we finish getting through the games. But moving on to the Sunday games, firstly, Carlton defeated Gold Coast by 59 points at the MCG. Joel Jeffrey here did an ankle and just also be mindful that Paddy Dow was subbed on, replaced Jack Martin in the fourth quarter.
Yep, so you mentioned before, Tim Doherty's a good target, I think, post-buy, so probably not much more to add with that. I think he's just going to be a top sort of 3-4 defender and he's a great target. So, look, for him, Doss would be happy with the Chera 122 there. Noah Anderson got his 100 as well. Not too many players really to talk too much in depth with. Sam Walsh, 82, he'll be target sort of later on when he drops in price. I think he must be carrying something at the moment. So just let's see how he goes with a week off. Matt Rao, 80. McPherson, 76, if you've still got him. Fiorini, 75. Atkins, 68. Humphrey, 75, putting up another solid score as a rookie. Cunningham, 44. Sort of few coaches were looking at him as a cheap option to really maybe bring in, but not quite the score, so probably not an option for coaches. Chincotta, 40. He can go if anyone's still got him. The only player I wanted to get people's thoughts on, I'll start with you, Hung, was Paddy Cripps. So 110. We all know he's had a really poor year. He's dropped a lot in price, but is he an option post-buy if that's the best you can get to? Like, he looked better this week, a week off. Carlton looked to be made, well, after only one game, but they played a lot better today. Is he someone that you could think about jumping on or just not trusting him?
Bales, can you just check what his price is and I'll give you my thoughts while you're having a look. So I think no. I mean, he kicked 3 goals to get there. Everything went right.
And he'll be about 675. He'll be about 675. That's why I mentioned him, because he's so cheap.
All right. Yeah, man. And I know Jai Sinkin wasn't amazing today, but he's going to be below 650 as well coming out of that buy. Anyway, yeah, I think you could have a look at it. But as I was going to say, everything went right for the Blues today. Like, there's a home crowd, MCG. They rolled over the Suns easy as you like. I think that he's got 110. Yeah, I just don't think he's really a target. But as you say, he's at a nice price point, and if he's the best you can get to, and you're upgrading a rookie to him, then maybe he is an option.
Yeah, he is. So I didn't actually, because I looked at the weekend. I thought, geez, Cripps under 700k. Let's see how he goes this week and put up a nice score, as you said, with a few goals. But yeah, definitely someone to keep an eye on. Maybe you watch another week and see how he goes. But yeah, definitely someone, especially with people looking at Mills as well. They'll be around the same sort of price range. So, yep. So not the most interesting fantasy game, but Tim will go to the final game, the North Melbourne Bulldogs game.
Before we do, Bales, I do have one player I want to ask about, just because he is on my watch list for trading in. Is Noah Anderson. How did I didn't see the games on Sunday? So how did he look today? How did his role?
A bit concerning, particularly in the second half when they sort of got rolled over from after quarter time. But he was playing on a wing a fair bit, which was a bit concerning. Like they threw Will Powell and a few of these other guys in the midfield, which was very strange. And I know Selby tweeted out before that about Bailey Humphrey, that how good of a player he is, and he only got 2 CBAs, which was very odd. But Anderson was down at 16 CBAs, and I think there was a total of 30. So about 52% or whatever it is. So and like Matt Rao, David Swallow had more. Alex Davies got a bit. So a bit concerning. I don't know if I'd be targeting him. I don't know, Harmey, what your thoughts are on Anderson.
There just wasn't enough outside ball. Like, he's at his best, at his highest scoring when it's a bit more open and they can chip it around a bit, and they just haven't been getting that style of game. And it's really not the modern game. It's not the game this year, is it? It's all just fast bash and knock it forward at all costs sort of things. So I'm not sure whether I'm going to be targeting him for the next 10 rounds. Probably not at this stage.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Let's move on to the last game of the round. North Melbourne defeated by Western Bulldogs by 21 points at Marvel Stadium. So Jones did a forearm and O'Brien did a hammy from what I can see here. But over to you, Bale.
Yep. So, well, the Bont, if there was one thing I got right in my starting fantasy team was starting with the Bont, averaging 113.3, I think, which I believe puts him at the 4th highest averaging player behind Oliver, English and Taranto. So, he's been a great pick, and I think he'll be another good target post-buy if you can, again, get up to that price. English 134 as well, responded, and I needed that. So he's back on my captain's potential list post his buy after that good score, which is good. I thought he was allergic to being in my team, but he's all good. Sheasel 98, Tim, is he a trade still with the buy, or he's still putting up solid numbers?
Let's bloody hope so, because I traded him out last week, or before the round. So, look, I knew it was going to be risky, particularly when we got that late news about Hall being out. Was there someone else as well? But I guess that gave me a little bit more confidence that he might score. But he'd been in my trade plans all week. I didn't really want to mess with it too much. I just resolved and kind of told myself that I think, the rookies are going to slow down and we're a bit uncertain about his role. So now's a good time to get off.
I jumped off both.
And I kind of have to with the round 15 buys anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Harmey, easy trade?
Look, all the same reasons. Unfortunately, I'm the same as Tim. Traded him out last week, and I went to Jake Lloyd to try and correct my buys a bit, and I thought that Lloyd would outscore him. And that was because Sheezer was getting thrown around a bit, and he was starting off that forward flank and stuff, but it wasn't like that today. He was in the back line again, and it's probably a little bit of a shame now that I've traded him out, but I've just got to stick with it and see how that plays out.
Especially now as well, considering Whitfield went out. Oh, is he now going to miss a week? Because I'd wish I'd waited a week and then I just could have got off him instead.
Is Sheezel a hold for those coaches that maybe if they can hold him, do you hold him, or is he still, because he's a rookie, do you still move off of him?
I think that is another reason why I traded him and Ashcroft, because they are rookies and they are prone to putting up a bad score from time to time. But if I was an owner, now seeing the role that he had today, I'd probably hold unless something changes. Like if Hall comes back in and he gets flipped up forward again, then maybe that's the point in time. But I think for now, he should be pretty happy holding him coming out of the bias.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Caleb Daniel, 93 as well. Not too bad, but he will probably be a target for many coaches post his buy. Bailey Dale, 86. I think we'd all rather probably Caleb Daniel as that option. I know Dale's a bit cheaper, but it seems Daniel's just getting the higher scores. Jack McRae, 83. So that was his first sort of poor score in a few weeks there. Harmey, I think you're an owner of McRae, if I'm correct.
Oh, Bales, when you brought up Bont earlier, it kind of made me cringe
Sorry,
a
mate.
bit, because remember they were the same price in round one, and I was tossing up between the two for all pre-season. And anyway, I went McRae, and I've still got him, and I'm probably still going to have him coming out of the buys. But I don't know. It wasn't a good watch. He had copped a bit of attention from Liam Shields today in the first half, so they chose to tag him for some reason. But I don't know. Western Bulldogs and Bevo, gosh, you wouldn't know, would you?
Again, he attended 0 CBAs today, so it's clearly they've moved him into that sort of linking man in the forward line. Do you think he'll be a top 6, Harmey, or do you think he'll be just a bit away from the top 6?
I think he'll be very close to top 6 forwards, if not within that top 6 anyway. So that's probably why I'm happy enough to hold him at the moment. He's not going to hurt me too much, I don't think. And unlike some others, I think he's probably going to be okay. But it's just hard to see him, knowing what he has been in previous seasons, to now see him just sitting out on that forward flank and not doing a whole lot's a bit disappointing.
Yeah. His teammate, though, Bailey Smith, I think he's probably a trade. He's been quite average since Treloar's been back, and I think you can probably get another forward. So would we be happy to move a guy like him on, Tim?
Sorry,
Bailey
who's that,
Smith.
mate? Oh, man. Once again, it's kind of a little bit like what I was saying about Jack Steele, I think. It all depends on how your team's going to look coming out of the buys. If you need to move him in terms of round 15 buys, then good. This week's a good opportunity to do it. But at the same time, if you can hold him, or, you can make your other moves and hold him, and it's going to keep a rookie off field in round 16, then, that's a good reason to do it too.
I'll tell you what, guys, I did not like what I saw. Man, he had 2 points at quarter time. He had one handball in the first quarter. So, he's not somebody we're looking to try and bring in, is he?
Exactly right. Taron Thomas, I think, is probably one that crossed his name off a few coaches' watch lists. Only 66, probably not the numbers we want as that sort of underpriced option, and his sort of role's been sort of thrown around a little bit, so probably crossed off. Will Phillips is probably a guy that people move on this week, being a good cash cow after sort of early season sort of being dropped, being sub. So he's been solid, but probably time to go. Jack Zeeble, again, I was a bit nervous actually not owning him with Hall out against the Bulldogs, but probably lucky they didn't put up a big score. So 59, I think we can all agree he's probably one we'd be happy to move on if you can get someone better. And then George Wardlaw is probably the final player we'll discuss here. So as Tim, you were saying, that these rookies can't be trusted. Like at the end, like look at Johnson, look at Wardlaw and guys like that. Would you, if you can get Wardlaw up to even if it is a Yo, Ben Keys, not Himmelberg, but guys like that, you'd be happy to do that move?
Yeah, look, once again, 3 trades this week, right? So round 15 buy, it's going to kill his cash gen. Potentially there might be. Look, a good example is this. So I'm looking this week. Potentially, I might go someone like a Lockie Whitfield down to maybe like an Elliot Yo, which is going to give me some cash. That cash I could potentially put on Wardlaw. Maybe even a little bit more cash with that third trade, and I could get that rookie up to a big dog mid.
Yep, yeah, I think he can be moved. And Harmey, you'd probably agree with that as well.
What happened with his role? Actually, one thing I did want to ask is, why did he score 31?
So he's watching the game, he still had the role. He still played in the midfield. Just getting up the CBA numbers here. So his CBAs were still at 15, but he only had 59% game time. So I actually looked. He had played 82% of the first half, I think it was, and then just sort of rest on the bench for big portions of the back end of the third and fourth quarter. So I think it was more down to just not getting the game time. And the fact that Greenwood and Simpkin were back as well probably didn't help.
Yeah.
So, Harmey, you'd be moving off as well?
I don't think you need to move off him. I think you could probably afford to hold him on the bench because, how much is he worth? He wouldn't even be 500,000.
Yeah, be about 470.
He's probably still got... Yeah, he's still got cash to make. I don't think you necessarily need to jump off him at the moment. But, yeah, it depends how your team's looking. You can't rely on him on field, I think, is probably what we can take out of that game.
Yeah, agreed. Well, Tim, they're the games, mate.
Awesome, mate. All right, well, let's turn our attention to the AFL Fantasy Content Creators Cup. Proudly brought to you by Infinite Wealth, helping you reach your financial goals faster. We're winning coaches. We get $5,000 for their favourite charity. And just a reminder, there's something special for every coach available too. Head across to infinitewealth.com.au/AFL Fantasy to claim your free 5-module online learning program, the Fast Track to Freedom, where you can learn how to pay your mortgage off up to 3 times faster, save thousands on tax every year, and learn how to build your wealth and replace your income. Now, the other thing I was thinking about doing in the next couple of weeks is maybe doing a webinar specifically for AFL Fantasy coaches coaches that want to find out more about how to pay their mortgage off faster and save tax and all that kind of stuff. So, if a webinar is something that you're interested in, head across to that link and just register for the program. That way I'll have you on the list and I can send an email out when I kind of figure out what I'm doing and when I'm doing and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, the link is infinitewealth.com.au/AFL.
And guess what, Tim? The lockout's lifted.
What's that, mate?
So you can actually, all the stuff
Has
will be
it really?
updated. Just had a look.
Let me just refresh. Yeah, you are right. So look, the first thing. Oh damn, I shouldn't have refreshed because I actually wanted to go through the fixtures for last week, and I think Bales, you were the third highest scorer for the week. So the thing to acknowledge first, I think Louis scored a 1979. Actually, Calvinator got a 1955. Miller from break.
Hear about that?
Yeah, we will. Miller from Break Even Pod got a 1938. And then Bales, you got a 1931. So you got the fourth highest score there, mate. So good job for the week.
Life, losing to the top score every week. So yep, continues.
But no, that's very.
I'm just glad that I had a good week. So take that.
Well, look, season overall, league-wise, Mitch is on top. I'm in second. But look, heading across to overall. So I'm going to start at 8. So we've got 9 coaches inside the top 5,000. I'm going to start there. So at number 9 is Nathan, the Overmullets from Hat Chat. We got Alex, Junk Time Janitors from Break Even. Oh, sorry, that was Nathan is 4,972. Junk Time Janitors 4,757. Statesman still inside the top 5,000 at 4,386. Then Louis moved up with his big week this week to 3,801. Destroy sitting pretty steady there at 2,374. Miller from Break Even is inside the top 2,000 now at 1,909. Sanch is still inside the top 1,000 at 959. I moved up about 50-odd spots to 552. And Mitch moved up must have been roughly about the same to 477.
The top 500.
Yeah. So he's inside the top 500 after another good week. So that's how the Content Creators Cup is going. Well, why don't we turn to trade targets for the week, boys? What who have we got our eye on? Should we go through the lines?
It's up to you if you want to go through the lines or go through the teams coming off the bye if you want. That's up to you.
Yeah, well, let's go through the teams, maybe. We'll go through the teams, right? So teams coming off the bye, let's start with Adelaide.
Lead.
Dawson, obviously.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about? Probably get Harmey's thoughts, and then Tim as well. But Ben Keys, he might go tag Dacos, but Dacos been spending more time in the midfield. We know he can he's averaged over 105 on multiple occasions. Is he a guy you guys are looking at under 700?
I picked him up at about 500. Oh, what was he? 510, something like that. A couple of weeks back, and I think he's probably gone up 100,000 since then. So I was really happy picking him up at the right time. But now he's 675. It's a different conversation, and I wouldn't say he's that that no-brainer pick that you're looking for. So 675. I'm not sure about that.
Tim, are you keen? I'm pretty keen personally because I can get a rookie up to him and it won't cost me much. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, look, he's definitely going to come into calculations this week, but I'm not sure. Obviously, I'm worried about the Dacos tag this week. I mean, do you think he's going to hold that role in the midfield? I mean, that's what they've talked about. Is it Adelaide have come out and talked about him keeping that role?
The coach have come out and said that he's going to play probably that 50-50 split almost. He's going to be spending time in the midfield because they want these young players to sort of last the season and be right because, the Crows have had a very good year and they're probably aiming to be playing finals and they've got that buffer with a few of those teams losing just outside the 8 this week. So they're probably going to want Rochelle and what is his prime for finals? Yeah.
He's had that role before, 50-50 role. And what sort of scoring?
Well, obviously, he's had more of a midfield role, but 50-50 role, he's probably obviously going to be around the ball. He tackles, he marks. I think he can average 90 with that role. He's not going to be the 105, 110 that he was when he was one of the main guys in there, but I think he can certainly average 90 and be a good stepping stone at worst.
Okay. Well, look, I'm not sure. I'll keep him in mind, but we'll have to see. Anyone else from Adelaide?
I think they're probably the main 3. I think, Dawson, Laird and Keys. I think they're probably the 3.
Sure. All right.
Actually, I'll give you another one. Just bear with me a sec here, Bales. Yeah, here. In the back line, Josh Worrell, who's come in and taken Tom Dodo's spot. So at 417, if you're desperate for someone who's going to be playing as a downgrade option in the back lines, it's somebody to keep in mind.
Yeah, agree.
Awesome. Moving on to the Pies.
Tom Mitchell's one I want to maybe raise to you boys and see what you guys think at 875. It's not changing role. He's had the role, but he's playing more game time. It's upwards near the 80%, where he was playing sort of low 70s at the start. But he seems to have really acclimated well to that game style, and he's putting up numbers. So are you boys, either of you boys, keen on Titch? We know that he's got the pedigree, obviously.
Yeah, he's a name I wrote down a couple of weeks ago, Bales, and I think that Pies midfield is quite an interesting one, actually, because what's DeGoey's movements? He's still another couple of weeks.
2 weeks.
So I think it was Jack Crisp that got more of a role, and he's 669,000, so he's affordable as well. But man, Titch is just doing everything right. I think that he's still going to be a good pickup if he's all you can really get to at 875,000. I think it's probably you're going to get at least what he's priced at going forward.
And I think day costs, obviously, if coaches don't have him, he's a great target as always. Maybe not this week, maybe might cop a tag from Keys, but maybe the week after. But Darcy Cameron as well. I don't know, Harmey, did you jump on Cameron before his buy, or if you're not, is he an option you're looking at?
Yeah, I did talk about it. I was looking at it, but didn't end up being able to make that work. So, yeah, he's definitely a trade option. As a forward, probably as a forward more so than a ruck. But, 691,000 and a couple of, probably 3 good weeks coming into his buy there. So, I think he's certainly someone you'd be having a look at.
Yeah, because I think, Tim, you jumped on Darcy Cameron pre-buy as well, didn't you?
Yes, I did, mate.
Perfect. Again, I think they're the only 3 from Collingwood, unless you boys can think of anyone else that maybe pops out. I know, Harmey, you mentioned Jack Crisp there, but anyone else?
Not for me.
Yeah, Taylor Adams cheap too. You could have a look at him at 620 grand. If you're getting a rookie to him, might be okay.
Yep. I think next team, Tim. I think is that Melbourne or
Hawks.
Oh, Hawks. That's right. Yeah.
Oh,
hang on. No, Essendon. Sorry. Yeah, it is Essendon. Merritt obviously is the obvious one, but is he too expensive, Harmey? At 994.
I tell you, I paid 990 whatever thousand for Brayshaw a couple of weeks ago, but that's because I knew I was going to be able to use him through the buy pretty well. So it's a bit of a different story now. We're almost out of the buys. I'm sort of tempted to have a look at a bit better value because, man, paying $1 million, it sort of feels like top price, doesn't it, for somebody?
I think that there is one midfield that I want to discuss from another team that's about that price that a few coaches may look at. Just trying to think, Essendon. Is there anyone else that you boys would consider? Because defenders are probably off the table with so many mouths to feed there. But is anyone else?
No.
Let's have a look. Oh, well, I think people will probably be jumping off Hobbs rather than bringing him in. So, and Parrish, he must be around about the mark to come back, I'd say. So let's just have a quick look at Parrish's price.
Just a tick over 900, I think.
Okay, maybe you wouldn't worry about that either. So, I think your comment is probably fair with Ridley, McGrath, and Redmond, who would be my favourite one anyway. Down back, there's probably too many people competing for the same points.
Yeah. So I think Tim's at Hawks are the next.
Yes, mate.
To be honest, I think there's no real options there. Like Dylan Moore, if people want to go there, but there's a few options. Sicily would have been a great target, but obviously again, if he gets off tomorrow with the suspension, I don't think he will. I think he'll still cop a suspension, but if he is, I guess, the target. But is there anyone else you boys looking at, or is there not really much going on at Hawthorn?
No, not apart from Sick Dog.
Oh, yeah, I just don't think you would. They aren't going to have a good finish to the season, and I don't think there's really any value there. So, I don't think you'd worry about it.
Yeah. Tim, next team?
Melbourne.
Clayton Oliver. Is any
$990,000.
Yeah.
That's the 990 player you're talking about.
100%. I'm keen. He's a guy I've got on my sights. Potentially is a Whitfield upgrade, but then again, maybe I want to maybe try and get that extra rookie off, so maybe not going him's a play. Harmey, I know, Tim, you're probably keen on Oliver, but Harmey, are you keen as well on Oliver?
Well, as I said, I'm probably going to have to chase people that are a bit lower price point than that. But the difference between Merritt and Oliver here is that no one's going to have Oliver. His ownership is going to be so low that he's going to be a nice point of difference if he comes out and hits some ceiling scores for you. And I'm expecting that Melbourne won't play him until he is ready to go. So there's probably not a whole lot of injury risk with him as well. So he's going to be a nice pickup at some point. But yeah, as I said, for me, I'm going to have to chase people closer to the 900 mark rather than a million.
Well, Petrarca's around that price, Harmey. Is he maybe one you've got an eye on more instead?
I had Petrarca most of last season, and I found him very up and down. I think he has been a little bit up and down this year as well. So probably not someone I'm aiming for at the minute. No, I think like with Melbourne, I'm talking about more your Christian Salem types who might be a good pickup for Whitfield down to Salem, and then your net money for your second and third trades.
I was just about to actually talk about Salem, Tim. You said you're looking at a Yo. Is Salem around the mark as well? You're looking at with those two?
Yeah, I think I would prefer a Yo over a Salem, though. What is he? Salem's kind of a 90 guy, right? I think he's just a little bit too far off that top six. But Harmey's talking about getting some cash by going that trade. That's certainly a good option.
Yeah.
But once again, also I'm an Eagles fan, mate. But maybe that's also that might be influencing me as well.
Yeah, I think that's because Brayshaw's. I don't think he's an option. He's just been way too sort of down this year. So probably it from Melbourne. Was there any other teams that are on bye this week?
Yeah, mate.
Yes, of course. Yeah, sorry, of course.
Coast.
Yeah, sorry, mate. The Eagles. Well, Yo, Tim, you're keen. So
yeah. I've still got to look at it, but it's $605,000. He's had some pretty good rolls over the last couple of weeks, which gives me a bit of confidence in his body. This is cheaper than what he was at the beginning of the year, and I was ready to jump on board then. The other thing, I do need a defender. The other thing is I need a defender this week. So, and then I think, there's no one else really to be playing in that midfield, or, if he's playing off the half back line as well, we know that he can score tons there as well. So I think they've got no one left. So I think he's going to be around the ball a lot.
Yeah. I think he's a good option. Obviously, just the risk, obviously, with the injury there. So that's probably just one thing for coach to look at, but definitely one. But yeah, Tim, the other one I ask you about is, a lot of people got him. A few people might have moved off him, but maybe a Campbell Chester, if he's in the side, is he maybe a downgrade option for coaches to look at if he's named?
Sure. I don't expect him to score very well. I don't expect him to make a lot of money. You might even be looking at throwing away that spot. I don't know. So maybe you're trying to get someone who's even cheaper. But I think he's got pretty good job security out of, I haven't done an inventory of all the rooks under 300K, but there's probably not a lot of them, and he's probably got some of the better job security out of all of them.
Yeah. Well, they're the targets, I think.
Well, what about Duggan? What about Liam Duggan? Does anyone like the idea?
I know Jake would be a big fan. I think Jake had to move him on, but not a bad option. He's very good before he missed that game. I guess he's probably just at a bit of an awkward price for me. He's $851. You can probably get if you can maybe get like even a Crouch is probably going to be a similar price. I'd rather a Crouch or something like that instead.
Definitely, that's what you would be aiming for. If you could swing a DPP, I'd be taking Crouch over Duggan every day of the week.
Definitely one to keep an eye on though. If you can only get a defender, you could probably him to Whitfield to him only costs you about 40 odd K. So one to consider, I think.
I'd probably even take Sinclair over Duggan. I think the Saints have got a not bad run, and Sinclair's probably a better pick.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah,
good one. All right, well, let's go through some of our questions here. Bales, do you want to have a look on YouTube, and I'll go through Twitter. So Mick Hart's asking what happened to Zeeble. Is he a must trade now? Yeah, I think he is. I got it from a couple of weeks ago. He was obviously priced pretty highly. The reason I got off with Hall in the side, he was only averaging, I think, 85, so that's why I got off. But yeah, any idea what happened with him today, guys?
Well, I don't think anything really happened with him, did it? He played out the game.
Yeah, it was just
didn't really play very well.
I did notice actually in the third and fourth quarter, for some reason, North just didn't want to make any interchanges. So him and Wardlaw actually got stuck on the bench a lot. And I think Zeeble, there was, I think, 2 times where he spent over 10 minutes. So I'm just having a look at how much time. So he only played 64% game time. So that's obviously a lot less than what he's normally there. So for me, looking at that, that's probably the main reason why he scored so low.
Yeah, okay. Another one from Mick Hart's here. Guys, would you guys go Crouch or Sarong?
Harmey?
Crouch for me, guys.
Yeah, Crouch for me too.
Yeah, I just think you look at what he's done the last few games he's played. He's put up some really decent scores, and he's probably their main midfielder, and they've got not a bad run. So I wouldn't have much hesitation in drafting him in this week.
Yep.
Yeah. Buzz, you agree?
Yeah, I agree here. I think Crouch is the option there. Next question. I've got a good one here. Underscores says, if you have English, Marshall and Briggs, is it worth trading Briggs now that he's probably going to go up another 100K? Or what are you doing there if you've got all 3? Who would be a guy that you'd move off of?
Depends if you need the playing player. You could probably
don't you need one this week?
Yeah, but English is probably the one you move.
Well, that's what I mean. So,
which is bizarre.
Well, because English and Briggs have got the bye. They both got the bye. So Marshall will play. So they're going to need. Okay. So they can either have the donut, but they're going to have to move one on the next week. So do you move like an English to bring in a premium midfield like an Oliver or someone like that, or do you go a Briggs and just still keep the set and forget rucks? That's the sort of dilemma that Underscore's got here.
I have been toying with this. I wonder whether English is a little overpriced now and whether a move to Briggs. I've toyed with the idea. I'm not saying I'm doing it, but it has been something I've played with. So coaches with, big brass ones and maybe priced a little bit further back. I think that's a good play.
Well, think of it like this. So if you have both, who would you like to trade in at the moment? If you're going to trade somebody into your team, who would you go for? Briggs or English?
It's probably Briggs
because he's still going up. So he's probably the one. If you already have them, he's probably the one you're going to keep, I reckon.
Yeah, maybe it's English. He probably is English to just maybe get another premium midfield, and you can go Briggs to English at a later date. So because Briggs has looked great, so he doesn't like slowing down. So yeah.
All right, let's just go through a couple more questions quick fire and get done. Thoughts on Nick Martin quickly, Harmey?
He's had a great run, but I wouldn't rely on him scoring over 100 for the rest of the season, so I think you should probably be looking elsewhere.
Yeah, cool. What about this, Bales? Are Doherty and Dawson the only players you can upgrade Sheasel to?
Dawson for me. Just because if you need the player this week, obviously Doherty's on bye. But I think both are going to be great targets. If you don't have them post-buy, they're going to be top 3 defenders in my eyes with Dacos. So, yeah, both good targets.
I think we talked about Ashcroft before. I think we said it is time that you potentially could trade Ashcroft. And I think that's all I've got here. Anything for you, Bales?
It doesn't look like a lot of the players that we talked about there. I can answer these questions as well post the Twitter space for the people listening on YouTube.
Awesome. All right. Well, Harmey, thanks a lot for coming on, mate. We really appreciate your time and all the work you do. Why don't you let people know where they can find you?
Yeah, no worries at all. And, all the best for the rest of the season, fellas, particularly you, Tim, with your rank up there.
Thanks, mate.
Should be looking forward to how that's going to play out for the next 10 weeks or so. But people can find me on the PODPOD podcast. So following our illustrious leader Dossie, and on Twitter at John Harmey. So I think you tag that in the post for the podcast.
We'll make sure we'll make sure everyone can see it, mate. Any idea what your trades might be this week, mate?
Ooh, no.
I know it's early, right? So no big deal if you don't know, but I thought I'd ask.
Yeah, no, look, I don't. I think if I'm going to go for a downgrade option, it might be Kyle Lohmann at the Lions. If he gets named, I think he didn't look too bad. He's pretty cheap. So, and I think I've sort of mentioned Crap a couple of times tonight. He is free that I'm keen, but I don't think I'm probably going to be able to afford to jump up to a top dog like a Laird at the moment. So I'll probably be chasing a bit of value, and I do like Elliot Yeo on the back line. So maybe Whitfield to Yeo is my play.
Yeah, all right, fantastic. Bales, what about you, mate? What are your trades looking like this week?
Yeah, and when Harmey said about downgrade option, I just actually thought Ryan Marrick is another one just to keep an eye on for the Eagles. Probably not going to be a big scorer, but just, yes, maybe one that will be on coaches on their watch list. The trades at this stage, I've looked at maybe going a Whitfield up to Oliver, going a Van Rooyen, because I should have at least 20 this week, so Van Rooyen down to a Lohmann and using that cash on top of Wardlaw to get up to a Keys or a Yeo. But I've also maybe played with the fact that going a Whitfield to Crouch and then maybe trying to get 2 rookies off field just to make sure I have got all the rookies off field post buy. So it could be like a Crouch, Yeet, Keys and Yeo. I'd maybe bring in those 3 if I can work something. But yeah, something like that, Tim. What are your thoughts with the trades, mate?
Yeah, look, Lockie Whitfield's going to be on the chopping block, and potentially Jordan Wardlaw as well. And yeah, targets, look, like I said, I've mentioned him a couple of times. Would love to get to Oliver, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have the cash, but we'll see what happens. And then, yeah, looking at a Marrick or a Lohmann as a downgrade.
Sweet.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks a lot, everyone, for joining us. In particular, thanks a lot to those who sent in questions and players for us to discuss. You can send your questions to us at any time on Twitter, and please give us a follow at AFL Fantasy Fans. Don't forget to tune in each week after the final siren of the round for the live Twitter space, and also on Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard, 4 p.m. Western for our pre-lockout chat. And you can get all the lowdown on those last-minute changes like Bale's got, and so many other people have kind of commented, and make those last-minute changes for your week. Also, don't forget you can listen to these spaces on the AFL Fantasy Fanatics podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Please get along there, subscribe, give us a 5-star review. That will help us kind of get promoted out there. So anything you can do to help us out would be much appreciated. And apart from that, guys, we hope you all have a great week. Good luck with your rage trades, and we'll catch you all again at the same time next week. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.
Perfect. Thanks, Harmey, mate. Appreciate you jumping on. Thanks, Tim.
Awesome, boys.
Beautiful. If anyone wants to jump over to the YouTube live show, I'll be answering some questions for like 15, 20. So if you want to do that. But if not, thanks for tuning in. Good luck for the upcoming week, guys. And you catch you on Friday. Thanks, Tim.
See you, boys.
Evening, everyone. Hope we're all doing well. I didn't actually think I was going to have a good week, but we did actually have a good week. Just unfortunately lost to Louis again. So another loss in the Content Creators Cup. So let's get through some questions. If you've got questions, send them through and do all that good stuff. Yeah, if you're obviously watching as well, make sure you leave a like on the stream if you enjoyed the Twitter space with Harmey and enjoying the content on the channel, and subscribe if you haven't already, bottom right-hand corner. So let's get stuck into some of these. So Brendan Bonapelli just joined my round. Oh, mate, he was very, very good. Sorry, mate. Unfortunately, he was my +3, but he was very, very good. That was enjoyable to watch. I think, what did he do? He went 107 points in the second half. So I was only just saw about then. So he was obviously amazing today. Moonboy, Dan Bont killing me. Andrew Griffiths, hey, legend, I'm back with 2009. Bont, you're a star. Thank you. 2009 is a big score there. That was that would have top scored out of all the people in the Content Creators Cup, mate. So good week for you there. Brendan, 1897 for me. Zeeble was disgraceful. Oh, yeah, he only played 64%, so that was the main reason why he didn't score very well. He was on the bench a fair bit in that second half, particularly towards the end of the quarter, which was quite strange. Brendan, you're gone. Zeeble, you're gone. Yep, I think he'll be traded by a lot of coaches that have still got him. Andrew Grivers, I did trade Day to Miller, Wangani Miller, meant I didn't have to fill Johnson Wardlaw. So that was obviously a good move there, Andrew. Brendan said, man, I started this game at 9K, end up at 14.7K. Yeah, I think the game, I went down 2,000 ranks. I went down to about 8.4, and then I went back up to 7.8 by the end of the game. So once my Bont and English got past my lower scores, being Johnson, Steele, and Johnson, not Steele, Johnson and Robertson, 58. They started counting, which was good. So, Brendan, English I can cop because Briggsy's a god, but the Bont I just can't deal. The Bont's obviously going very well, isn't he? Andrew says, bye-bye Wardlaw. Brendan, he's gone to Sheldrick. Zeeble is gone. And the Cheese. I like Cheezel today, but it's either him or Green. Yeah, obviously, get rid of Cheezel before Green. Underscores, 1878 projected was a lot higher with Chincotta and Green were getting 40s. Bont saved it a little bit. One of the very few that doesn't have Wardlaw, though. Greenwood pretty much the same, though. Brought him in the other week. Gets concussed half-time, though. Yeah, I think Rosie actually scored so low today. So, disappointing for those coaches that maybe might have held. But, yeah. Brendan, glad I snubbed the Dunkley VC. One thing was still, I still think I would have taken it personally, but I know a few people do like to hit sixes and do like to take it on. So can't knock anyone for taking it, but I would have taken it. Underscore sadly took the Dunkley with Bont and English and Taranto smashing it. Yeah, they were obviously the other three captains. If you had one of those three captain, you were in a good stead this week. What do we got here? Brendan, the way I look at Darcy and Briggs v English is that I've made 600k for my ruckman, but I think I have to have Speakino. Yeah, it's a good debate. If you've got all three, do you trade a Briggs or an English? Because you've probably got Marshall, so it depends who you trade. It's a tough one. You probably do trade English, unfortunately, because it's like, well, you can swing him into the midfield, get a primo mid. In a few weeks' time, you can go Briggs up to an English because it's not going to cost you as much because Briggs is only going up in price. So it is something to look at. Moonboy says he's going big next week. Hopefully you do, Moonboy, mate. I'm hoping I go big as well. I should have at least 20 this week, which could hold me in good stead because it did this week having 21 with all those low scores. Hopefully it holds me in good stead this week. I had someone from underscores there through that. Underscore saying I'm trading Sheezel, Chincotta, and Greenwood. Yeah, I'd be happy to trade those three. Obviously, Greenwood poor score today. Chincotta is a rookie, and then Sheezel, you can obviously go him up to someone. Brendan, going to wait till round 16 and go Briggs to English. Yeah, you could do that in round 16, but obviously Briggs will still make more cash. So maybe you do it in round 17 or 18, maybe. What else we got here? Some other questions. Underscores Stewart or Sinclair. Oh no, that's just for top six. Who would have in the top six? Stewart or Sinclair? I think I just back in Stewart with the GMHBA games coming up back end of the year, but it's very, very close if it's between those two. Let's have a look. What do we got here? Going Sheezel to Sick Dog if available. Wardlaw to Sheldrick. If Sick Dog's available, he's not a bad option. You could look at him. What I'll do, I'll skip because there's a lot of chat here as well. So I'll skip through the chat that you guys do. And if you guys did have questions from earlier, put them lower or put them in the live chat again. I'll answer them. I'll just go through to the ones that there's some questions here. Underscore and Brendan right in the chat here. Appreciate you boys as always. Ben Hayes, Callahan was very good. Johnson Wardlaw screwed me over. Somehow scored 1785. Yeah, it was a tough week for a lot of people, and obviously Johnson Wardlaw would have hurt a lot of coaches, but Callahan was obviously very good, Ben, so you'd be very happy with him. Some try, I guess the positives, they didn't lose money. Time to go one down, one up with them. I'm holding Bailey for one more week. What Bailey? Is that Zach Bailey or Bailey Humphrey or someone? But I'm assuming for Bailey Humphrey, you could probably hold him for one more week. He's got Hawthorn. Oh, yeah, we are talking about Humphrey because it says easy upgrade from 550k. Hugh, Johnson and Wardlaw made things tricky, but hey, that's rookies. Exactly right. Rookies can obviously put up some tough scores, unfortunately. So, yeah, that's just the game with these rookies. That's why you've got to try and get them off field as quick as you can. Brendan is Clary a must-have. He's not a must-have, but he's a very good option at 9.9. He's going to be a good pod. Everyone would have moved off of him, so you can get him, and if you can put up some big scores, that'll hold you in good stead and could even be a good VC option on the Thursday night against Geelong. That's something to consider. So, I'm looking at him as a potential option to bring in my team this week. Some try Clary's an upgrade from a Neil Whitfield Mitchell type, above average mid, but below mid primo. Yeah, you could always grab a Mitchell for a few weeks through the buys if that's the best you can get to, and do maybe an extra move, maybe getting an extra rookie off field, and then maybe get Oliver in a couple of weeks. But yeah, something to look at. Ben likes Chera as an option. He's got the buy this week, but maybe post buy you could have a look. I don't think he's going to be a top 8, and he's priced quite highly, so not for me, but if you're keen, you could jump on. Brendan, Clara, top 3 mid. I think he is. I think he's a top 3 mid. I think he's probably, yeah. I think Laird's obviously up there, and he's been obviously very good of late. Obviously, Clayton Oliver's up there as well, and then, there's plenty of good mids. But, yeah, I'd say Clara's a top 3 for me. And Bont's probably got to be in and around those top 3 or 4 now. The fact that he's averaging 113 and he hasn't gone below 90 this year, only 4 scores below 100. So, 3 of them were in the first 3. Well, they were in the first 3 of the 4 in the first 3 games. What do we got? Some try this time of the year that either top primo, super low break even, or 200k players to bank, stuffing around with tier 2 mids and with high break-ins a wasted trade. Second tier defenders and forwards too. Yeah, it's a good point. No, this is probably the last week you can probably get these guys around that 400, 500, 600k. Well, maybe not 600k, but like 400, 500k. You can plug and play for a buy. But obviously, yeah, once we move past this buy, it's all about getting cheap rookies, but making sure you still have cover on there, and then also making sure you're getting top alignment, because a lot of people are either going to be down to 1 or 2 rookies now, and you can start to get those better players on your field. So target those top 8 mids, top 6 defenders and forwards, and then look at matchups and stuff like that. So, yep. Out to you rage trading. At this stage, who am I rage trading? Probably not. Probably Steele's probably one I rage trade. He'll be one I'll look at if I trade out. I'll probably have to hold him, unfortunately, but in the hope that he just turns it around. But yeah, he'll be one I'll rage trade, but I'll probably have to keep him, I think. Ben Hayes, Ben Miller, an option for Ruck. Can't afford him though because I need keys. I wouldn't look at Ben Miller as an option. Does Fletcher for Brisbane have job security? I think he's injured, so I don't think he will. I don't know if he'll be in the team. So something to look at there, Ben. Andrew, Dylan Williams, Wardlaw and Johnson to Yo, Cameron and a rookie. Yep, I like it. You're getting 2 underpriced guys there for 2 rookies and you're going a rookie down. So, yep, I like it. Obviously, if you've got enough numbers, then you can trade Johnson. But if you need Johnson, I'll probably hold. But I like those trades anyway. Downgrade mid options. There's probably not any real rookies. Maybe Sheldrick if you didn't jump on in with that mid-forward flexibility. Winhager's cheap and looking good. Besides that, there's not too many other options. There's obviously some cheaper guys, but there are some of them on buy, like maybe Cripps if you're looking at him. But yeah, there's not too many, unfortunately. Ben, trades, I think, at this stage is Laurie to Marrick, Phillips to Fletcher, and Roberts to Keys. I don't mind them, obviously, if you need numbers. I don't know if I get Fletcher just because I don't think I don't know if he'll play. But he look good, so if he is named, he might be an option there. But Brendan, so Rage Chase complete, kept Sheasel, Zeeble, Wardlaw, and kept Sheasel, and you got rid of Zeeble, Wardlaw, and Davey, and you brought in Dawson, Sheldrick, and Winhager. I actually like those trades. I like them. Bring Dawson in, Sheldrick, Winhager, good options there. I like them. Uncle Deja, what do you think Marriage for Wardlaw? What do you think of Marriage to? What do you think of Wardlaw to Marriage? Walsh to Oliver, and Philippou to Cameron with 19. I don't know if I'd trade Walsh. I know that, yes, he hasn't been great of late, but the week off will do him good. I think he'll still be in around the top 8. I don't know if I'd be trading him unless you need numbers. But then again, I'd almost rather do a rookie to another, like a Yo or someone. But I could tick him off, but I'd almost prefer to keep Walsh if you can. Jack Wilson, is there any chance that Whitfield will get off? Well, they might challenge it. Maybe, and if they change it and he doesn't get suspended, then yeah, potentially. But I think he'll be suspended for a week, unfortunately. So I think it's a trade, and I've got him, so I have to move off him. Brendan, is Zeeble still a top 6 defender? Not for me. I don't think he will be. I think there's other names. You've got your Dawson, Dacos, Doherty, Sicily when he comes back, Stewart, Sinclair. That's already 6. Caleb Daniel. I think Will Day could arguably average the same as Zeeble, if not more. I think Sheasel's probably better than Zeeble at this point. So I know Zeeble's been good, but take out the one scored that 168. He's averaging closer to 90. If not, he might be under because of the poor one today. So I don't think he'll be a top 6. MJ, hey mate, love the podcast. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that. Crouch or Sinclair, similar price. Well, this week you probably don't need defender. So who's going to score more? Probably Crouch the rest of the year, but I think I'd still rather Sinclair just because I think he's more a lock for the top 6, whereas I don't know if Crouch's the top 8. He'll be in around the mix, but I think I'd rather Sinclair, I think. But it's a tough one. It's a good question. I like that one. That probably could have been one we I could have said in the podcast. Ben Hayes holding Thomas, Taranto, Wardlaw, and Butters this week. Well, obviously hold Taranto and Butters. Taran Thomas, you obviously hold. He's cheap and he might put on some good scores. But Wardlaw, you can move on if you want. Joe Ryan, is Wardlaw a must go? Not a must go, but if you can get him up to a Yo or a Keys or someone like cheap that you can bring in, I think that you can get it off of him. I think that you can trade him out. Christian Petrarca is tuning in. Thanks, Christian, mate. Only with the 1C this time, though, not the double C. But you either misspelled your name or it's not Petrarca. Do I trade Humphrey? I'd hold. He's got Hawthorn this week. He's playing. If you've got nothing to do and he's your last rookie on field and you can get him up, then yeah, feel free. But I think most people are probably going to have 2 rookies on field, and they've probably got Wardlaw, so you probably upgrade a Wardlaw or Johnson first because Humphrey's playing, got a good matchup, and still making money. James Crabb, thoughts on Whitfield to Dawson, Wardlaw to Windhager, and McAndrew to Heath just to get some cash. I didn't know what to do with my third trade. I like the first 2. Whitfield, Dawson, Wardlaw to Windhager. I wouldn't do McAndrew to the Heath. There's just no point. You can find there'll be something else you can do, James. Even if that's a Drury or a red dot rookie to a Lohman or someone like that, or if you don't have a Sheldrick, or if you've got no rookies on field, maybe you sideways a premium this week to get that extra number on field to get more points. Maybe you trade a Walsh if you had him or someone like that. That's something there. But I think there will be something else there, James. Or I know you got to get I know you want to get Dawson, but maybe taking a haircut on Dawson, getting a Sinclair or a Stewart, and then using that extra money on top of another rookie to get someone else in. That might be the play that you could do. Just something to think about. But if you want to do those trades, I'll still tick off the first 2 at least, and they're the main 2, so that's fine. Jack Wilson, 1863 for me. Okay week. Windhager, a good pickup. Yep, Windhager's a good pickup, I think. If you can make it work in your team, I think he's a good pickup. The TC channel, Short to Laird, Wardlaw to Lohman, and then Atkins to Martin, decent. What Martin is that? Is that Dusty or Nick Martin? I wouldn't want either anyway, I don't think. I know Dusty was good this week. I know Nick Martin's been good. Nick Martin did have good matchups. That's why he did put up good numbers. I'd look for another option, I think, going Atkins up. And then Short to Laird, obviously Laird's great. Do you want to trade Short, though? That's obviously my question. If you do want to trade Short, then yeah, feel free, jump off. But I feel like there could be someone else you could trade. But again, there might not be, so you might want to jump off. I'm just seeing what Short actually scored this week. So Jaden Short had a 95. He's averaging 98. He's been solid playing across halfback last couple of weeks. It might get DPP in round 18, so you might want to hold on to him. But then if you want to jump off, feel free. Ben Hayes taking a 0 from English. Yeah, I'll probably be the same as well. No, I've got Darcy Cameron, so I might be able to get 2 this week. But yeah, some people will have that 0 on their right line if I don't have Darcy Cameron. But if you get Darcy Cameron, that might be able to fill that void this week. Porter Dennis, 19, and obviously getting Darcy Cameron for a forward, putting him in your ruck this week. Porter Dennis, 19-10, solid, but let down by a few premiums. I think anything over 1,900 would have seen you move up this week because it was a low-scoring week, especially, really besides obviously Bont, Taranto, English. There wasn't many players that went over 130 or 120 this week. Obviously, Doherty was another one. But yeah, a lot of subpar scores. Beautiful. Got 50 people watching. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in post the Twitter space. If you are enjoying this, if you enjoyed the Twitter space with Harmey, or if you're watching and you're enjoying the Q&A after, feel free to leave a like. If we can get 50 likes, because there's 50 watching, if we get all people like and get up to 50 likes, that'd be amazing. It helps with like getting our podcast out to more people. So if you can like the video, it'd be great. And also bottom right-hand corner, make sure you subscribe. We're on our way to 1,200. So if you can help me reach that goal, that'd be very much appreciated. We're currently on 1167. So we're 33 away. Ben Hayes, Stuart VC, Captain Laird. Who's Stuart? Actually, Stuart's got Melbourne at GMHBA. Yeah, could be actually a solid shout, to be fair. A good VC. And obviously, Laird, Captain. Laird's got Collingwood. Tough matchup for Laird, but he's consistent. So, yeah, good fallback captain option there. Obviously, with no Taranto this week. A lot of people won't know what to do because Taranto's not there. Ben, hopefully, Stuart bounces back. Yeah, I think he will. That was a poor, tough matchup. He did cop attention from Power Pepper and they sort of team tagged him, so he'll be fine. Andrew Greer's Wardlaw, Johnson, and Dylan Williams to Elliot Yeo, Darcy Cameron, and Lohman. Yep, I like those. Tick them all off. Love them. You're getting 200 price guys, and you get 2 rookies off field, and you're going 1 down. Like it. Porter Dennis brought in Windhager, Sinclair, and Sheldrick. Happy days. Beautiful. Yep, I went Sinclair, Sheldrick, and Robertson because I went Windhager the week before. I went a week early because I already had Johnson. So it worked out. It's worked out well. It's been a good move for me, and I think it's a good move for coach if you can make it work. John, are we trading Wardlaw, giving him another chance? Again, if you can move him up to someone like a Yo or a Keys or someone, yep, I'm happy to trade because he's going to be on your field. He's not going to be on your bench. So, yeah, I'd be happy to trade. Harry Thomas, is Williams to Chesser a good downgrade? Yeah, Chess will play. He's another option to downgrade to. I think he'll play, and I think he'll play for a few games. So, yep, I don't mind it. Christian Petrarca again. What do I do about Atkins? You got to trade. Actually, depends for numbers. If you need him this week, maybe you hold for one more week with the Hawthorn matchup. You could hold and then move on post-buy. But if you can get him up to someone, you can always do that as well, depending on how many numbers you got. Uncle Deja, what do you think about marriage for Ward? That's right. I answered it before, mates. There you go. Sam Brunton, Sheasel to Darcy Cameron, Whitfield to Merritt, and Wardlaw to Keys. Yep, I love them. Tick, tick, tick. I'd rather Oliver if you choose between Oliver and Merritt. But hey, if you want Merritt more, then go for it because I think they'll still be both top 8 mids. Brendan, Bont has to be number 1 right now, then Clary, then Laird. I don't know about Bont number 1. He's been great, but he's got a lot of 110s that haven't been 120 plus, obviously 158 today. But he only had I think he had that 140 odd earlier in the year, but I think he's only had 3 scores over 120. Whereas I know for a fact Laird's had a down year and he's already had at least that, if not more. So, like, for example, Bont is at 994. As long as he gets over 100 post-buy, he'll be over $1 million. He's had 3 games over 120. The Giants game I forgot as well. So 3 games over 120. It's been great. But yeah, String Bean P, Hey Bars, do you have OnlyFans or just YouTube? Just YouTube, mate. Yeah, I'm probably not going to be making anything like the other one, but there you go. You never have demands there. John, thoughts on trading in Keys, Sheldrick, and Winhager? Yep, I like all 3 of those. Yep, if you can bring those 3 in, I like it. Christian Petrarca, it's track. Someone else stop my name. There you go. We've got an AFL player in the house. James Crab 99. Could you move off a Rosie? Not for me. He's been too good. I don't think I would. I'd move off him. I'd like to keep him. Charlie Bodchick. If I get rid of Sicily, if he gets the ban. If I get rid of Sicily, if he gets the ban, Bailey Smith and Wardlaw. Who should I bring in? Oh, geez, Charlie, that's hard. Obviously, it depends who you can bring in. I'm not sure. It's tough. It depends on team. There's plenty of good options, Charlie. So, yeah, just whoever you can get and whoever you like, I think. Brendan, 50 viewers. Bales, yeah, it was good to hit 50. We're down to 44 now, but appreciate all the legends that are tuning in. So I think we did hit 60-odd on a round review podcast that we did. It's just obviously the watch-alongs, which we hopefully we keep building. So 44 people here. If you've got nothing to do on a Saturday night, we do watch-alongs for the game, talk fantasy and stuff throughout the game. And Friday night sometimes when the Hatchet Boys don't do it. And then Thursday night if the Hatchet Boys don't do it. It just depends when they're doing it. So but I always keep people up to date with the social on the socials. So if you want to keep up to date when I'm going live, keep up to date with the socials. Chris Petrarca, I sub. Thanks, mate. Appreciate you subbing there. So we're up to 1167. So 33 away, as I said. So thank you very much for that. Jake Bell Smith, who would you trade out of Sheasel and Zeeble for Dacos? I originally was going to trade Sheasel, but Zeebel's form has me worried. To be honest, I probably would trade Zeeble. He's worth more as well. So I think Zeeble goes if you're trading one. So, yep, I'd go Zeeble to Dacos. Jack Wilson going Sinclair, Williams, and Wardlaw to Yo, Sheldrick, Winhager, pocketing 200K for the week after. Yeah, I like it. Part of me almost wants to get a better player than Yo if you've got 200K spare, and then you can get Yo the week after. But hey, if you want to bring in Yo and save money for next week, I still tick them off because you're getting rid of 3 rookies to do it. Griffin Shepherd, Bales, thoughts on Yo? I like him. Part of me wants to wait till he plays because he's got Sydney at the SCG this week. Sydney SCG can be tough to score on. Part of me wants to wait a week and then bring him in around 16 if I like what I see. But if you're keen on him this week, I think he's a good option to jump on. So yeah, if you can get to him, I like him. Just obviously the injury risk is there. So maybe when post buy, maybe you want to loop him on the bench, maybe put him as an E if you can afford to do that. And then in case he gets injured, you can then have a rookie come on in place or something like that. I don't know. You'd have to work out if West Coast's playing early in the week or later in the week. So if they're playing late in the week, you can't. So Brendan, do you worry about having too many green dots come finals time last year? I still had cash on the bench. Yeah, I was the same. I guess it's just because you just got to continue to cash in. It's always better to have too much cash than not enough. So I don't mind having too many green dots and having enough and having cash on the bench, but preferably by the end of the year, you do want all the cash on your field and having the best players possible. So, yeah, of course you want to get all the cash off the bench, but it just depends. So, alrighty. All right. I reckon that we'll cut it there as well. We've gone for about 20 odd minutes. So, but yeah, appreciate all you guys tuning in. As always, post the Twitter space. Actually, Paul Dennis here can go JVR this week to Loman if it means can get Wardler and Sheasel up to Yo and Crouch. Yep. Tick it off. Yep, if you can do that. I like that. You're going one down, then you're going two rookies, essentially. I know Sheasel's been good, but you're getting in Yo, who's a risk, but almost a risk worth taking because you can know how he can score. And Crouch, obviously, is really good as well. So I like those trades. So, yeah. All right, beautiful. So if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you do leave a like. I'm going to check how many likes we've got, sort of check and see if you guys have liked the video. But yeah, appreciate you guys as always. Thanks, Brendan, mate. Thanks, Brendan, for the $5 super chat there as well. Peace. Thanks, mate. If anyone else wants to leave a super chat, there's a super chat button there, so feel free. But appreciate that, Brendan, there. Just having a look here. How many likes have we got? We've got 18. So if we can get up to 30, I said 50. 50 would be amazing. But if we can get up to 30, that'd be fantastic. So make sure you leave a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Bottom right-hand corner. We're on our way to 1,200 subscribers. Only 33 away. So if you can help me reach that goal, that'd be very much appreciated. We're actually up to 1169 now. So thanks very much to those two people that did subscribe. I know Christian subscribed for. So thanks, mate. But another two people. So thanks for whoever subscribed. Make sure you get involved. We're back tomorrow for the round review. I'll go through my team, go to all the players and what I'm looking at doing and stuff like that. So just an extra bonus video tomorrow. Wednesday trade talk, as always, will be on Wednesday. Both the round review and the trade talk premiere at 5 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys tune into the premiere of that, or if not, catch it straight after. And yeah, then the Fantasy Fanatics Twitter space on the Friday, live before the game, answering everyone's questions, and the watch-alongs on the weekend. So looking forward to that. So make sure you follow all the socials in the comments below, or like links in the description for all those, and then get up to that when I'm releasing content, and then turn notifications on YouTube so you know when I go live. So if I do a sort of a late notice sort of live stream watch along, then you sort of get notified and then you know I'm live. So make sure you guys get involved in that. But as always, appreciate you guys tuning in. Jack Wilson, thanks, Bars. Thanks, mate. Mitchell Gray, I've gone Jake Van Rooyen to Windhager, Wardlord of Robertson, and Hunter Dawson. Yep, I like them. Tick those all there as well. So I like those. So good trades there, Mitch. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the round review tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern. So until then, I'm out. Cheers.